How long have we been doing this together? This is the 39th annual Governor's Conference on Tourism. Good morning, everybody. All right. I am so thrilled to be able to be back together with you. I know I said it last night. I'm going to say it again today. I'll probably say it again this afternoon and tomorrow as well. It's just so good to be together. The energy, when you get 550 of us at a sold-out conference, 56 scholarship recipients, probably 20% of you have never been to a tourism conference before, just an Oregon Governor's Conference before. There's just a lot of energy in this room, and I'm just excited to just kind of get that uncorked over the next couple of days while we're here together. I want to congratulate again all of our award recipients last night. Would you guys stand so we can recognize you one more time for your tremendous work and dedication to this state? It is my great honor and privilege right now to introduce some folks that are going to bring us a very special and a very unique welcome for our conference this year. We are delighted and we are honored to be welcomed today to the traditional homelands of the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde, Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians, the Confederated Tribes of Coos, Lower Umpqua, and Siuslaw Indians, and the Coquille Indian Tribe. Please welcome Bobby Mercier, artist, language, and cultural specialist from the Grand Ronde tribes, who will introduce the canoe families and the canoe culture and offer us a welcome. Bobby, come on up, please.
Flús tí san canaway tlaxte, uguk mung flús dunnaman saige pusan sa mitlet yakwa, be kagway awa ugukin sa ili kaban sa chamikidi tilakam slaska ankari mitlet yakwa, be uguk mung flús dunnaman saige pus mitlet yakwa pus wall slachayam kaban saige uguk tí san. You guys get that? Yeah, you're on. All right, we're on the same page. All I said was good morning. That was the short version. Just saying good morning to each one of you, and that we're very happy to be here. This is the territory of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and the Siletz people. And this is the home of our Chimichiti people, that just right down the road here, this is where one of our longhouses was. So this is always nice for us to be here and sing in our homeland. So we just like to open this conference with a couple songs. You guys can stay seated, and we'd like to just welcome you here to our territory. Just want to recognize that we also have some relatives here with us from Coos. We have Chief Barrett here with us, and one of our other relatives here from Coos, so they're joining us here today. I think you guys are watching our canoe videos. Just to talk a little bit about our canoes real quick while we catch a breath, that we travel in our canoes every year on something called Canoe Journey that has been one of the biggest drug and alcohol movements and cultural revitalizations here in the Pacific Northwest. And we travel in our canoes every year, every summer, up the coast, all the way. Sometimes we've been to Bella Bella, up towards Alaska, and up to Vancouver Island, and all throughout the Puget Sound, and taking our kids and spending 2 weeks on the water, sometimes 3 weeks on the water, depending on how far we're going, but also in our canoes traveling our ancestral highways, which is the Willamette River, the Columbia River, and in our ocean shores here. So this is just a little glimpse of us being in our canoes. Those canoes that are downstairs are the ones that we usually travel in, so feel free to take a look at those sometime today. Just to talk about those songs, that first one was just to welcome you here to our territory. And that second song is called New Beginnings, because we know that we can't change what happened yesterday, but when we wake up, we have that opportunity to start things off the right way every day. and that reminds us to keep moving forward in a positive way. So you guys have a good day. Hope everything goes good for you guys today. My seat. Go.
I can't think of a more right or a more necessary way for us to open our conference. Bobby, Chief Mercer, Justin, thank you so much for being here and for being part of our conference this year and for offering us that welcome. Truly the necessary thing to do. Thank you for offering us both the welcome and a challenge for the new beginnings to start each day that way. So thank you very much again for being here with us today. What a great way to start our annual tourism conference. You know, the tribal tourism component of the Oregon story is a critically important part of our work. And we are currently in the midst of working with representatives from each of our 9 federally recognized tribes to be part of a tribal tourism leadership committee. They've joined us here this morning as well, and I'd like you to join me in honoring them and in thanking them for this incredibly important work in making sure that we're telling the full and complete Oregon story by starting with their story. Would you please join me in thanking, honoring, and welcoming the members of our Tribal Tourism Leadership Committee who are sitting right here in front. It is now my pleasure to bring up a member of the Travel Oregon family. Would you please join me in welcoming Jen Anderson, a member of our brand stewardship team. Jen, come on up.
Thank you, Todd, and thank you, Tribal Tourism Leadership Team, and thank you to Bobby and his group. That was utterly phenomenal. Good morning. My name is Jen Anderson. I'm Content Community Manager at Travel Oregon, and it's my honor to thank conference sponsor Chinook Winds Casino for their partnership and support. Operated by the Siletz Tribe, Chinook Winds creates remarkable experiences for visitors and is also the largest employer in Lincoln County. Since 1995, the Siletz Tribal Charitable Contribution Fund has contributed significantly to the health, well-being, and economic stability of residents by distributing or donating $15 million to the local community. Please help me welcome Heather Hatton, Public Relations Manager for Chinook Winds Casino.
I'm going to do my stopwatch because Michael didn't do that last night, and I just want to make sure I don't beat him. I don't know if the Mill has seen their Facebook yet, but we have challenged you to the dance-off. So if you have not checked out the dance challenge, the casino dance challenge, it started over in Coeur d'Alene, and they have been challenging different people. So Spirit Mountain has done it, Three Rivers challenged us, and ours is the best, I've got to say. Now the Mill has 48 hours to get their dance challenge. Please go check those out. I think it's really fun. It's a way for us to share about our, you know what, I didn't push start. Share about our incredible team members that we have at our facilities. The Tribal Tourism Committee has been amazing this year. I'm humbled to sit in and listen on everything that is going on. I think it's a powerful group. And I think without Michelle, Liberty, and Lisa, I tell that it would not be happening. So I just want a quick round of applause for them because they are incredible. And I always do it whenever I get a chance. I know you would rather be listening to Dee Pigsley right now because she is an amazing human, our tribal chairman. But I ask that if there's any veterans in the room, if you would stand up and let us thank you for your service. And please don't be shy, and maybe we don't have any veterans in the room. Okay, well, thank somebody else for their service, please. When you see somebody, thank them for their service. So what I'm going to talk about just briefly is our community partnerships. We just came off of our Newport Seafood and Wine Festival partnership that we have had for 15 years. We have been a partner with Travel Oregon on this conference probably for 15 years. And that is what I think the tribal tourism and our tribally owned casinos do for our communities. I worked at the local paper when Chinook Winds came, and I think we all know what that that looked like back in the mid-90s when casinos were coming to town, and we thought that the world was going to come to an end. And then now look at what we're doing for those communities and how we're partnering with those communities. And it is, thank you, I know, it's so incredible. And I'm a community coach. I've raised 3 daughters in that community, and I don't know what we would be doing without Chinookwins. I think we have a great partnership with Explore Lincoln City, the Newport Chamber of Commerce, the Lincoln City Chamber of Commerce, and that's what we're about, building relationships and sharing our story. And speaking of Kevin Bacon, we were talking about Kevin Bacon and degrees of Kevin Bacon. I have 2 degrees. I walked with Detrick, right? Is that how I say Detlef? And I know Petra. So that's my degree too, Travel Oregon. I walked with somebody from Germany and I know Petra Hackworth. So I'm pretty excited about that. But have a great conference. And just one of my last thoughts is please be kind. For my birthday, usually every year, I ask everybody to do a random act of kindness. So I would ask that everybody today do a random act of kindness, whether it's just smiling at somebody that isn't, holding the door open extra, or thanking a veteran. It's all, you can do it for free. So Chinookwins is always happy to be a part of this, and I am under 3 minutes. Thank you, Michael. And have a great conference, and it's better at the beach. Thanks.
Thanks so much. My wife is also a big Kevin Bacon fan, follows him on Facebook, knows he likes to go, if you do this, if she's into it, he's out there with his guitar singing to his goats. It's a big deal for Kevin. And if you know, you know, right? And so Carolyn commented on one of Kevin's videos, and she's still walking on air because Kevin replied. Liked your comment, and he replied. So, between Kevin Bacon and Sam Elliott, those are her 2 faves, okay? So I am under, there's no pressure at my house. Okay. Speaking of warm, wonderful tourism industry professionals here in Oregon, it's my great pleasure now to introduce our host destinations for our conference. And I'm going to begin by introducing you to Danielle Tehema, the Executive Director of the Willamette Valley Visitors Association. Danielle is a thought leader. She's a thought leader in transformational and regenerative tourism. She's asked to speak and to participate in panels and workshops around the world in that work, and has been noted as a woman of vision by the National Tour Association. Would you please join me in welcoming to our stage Danielle Tehema.
Good morning, everyone. So nice to have everyone here in the Willamette Valley. So as Todd said, I oversee Willamette Valley Visitors Association. We are your regional DMO. And we have a couple topics to go over with you in our short time up here at the podium. My team's going to join me here in a minute. But first and foremost, as the regional DMO here, we're tasked with supporting our local communities. So when we talk about consumer assets, and I'm talking about everyone in this room, you're all consumers right now, unless you're Travel Salem, sitting at that table right over there. And I just want to emphasize, as you'll hear from some of our other team members here, when you're a consumer in the Willamette Valley, sustainability is not an option. This is what we do here. We're stewards of our land here, as you heard from our tribal welcome this morning. I'm also a tribal member from Southern Oregon, from the Klamath tribes. I have a council member here in the room as well. So sustainability and stewardship is very important, and we talk about consumer assets. So I ask you, and I task you all with this, when you leave the valley here today or later this week, and hopefully you're gonna come back many, many times, consider what you've left and what you've taken. Todd mentioned transformational travel, regenerative travel. That's something that's part of our DNA here. And when we talk about regenerative travel, we talk about making something net positive. Sustainability is net neutral, as one of our other colleagues with OSU Extension coined last year on a panel that I ran. So when you leave the Willamette Valley, or even if you're a local here, think about what you're leaving in the community. What are you giving back? How are you taking so that you're responsible in making sure that you're also leaving it a little bit better? And follow along with us as we partner with our DMOs here in the region and our neighboring regions to figure out how to make tourism better, how to make sustainability non-negotiable. Make sure this is part of everything that you take away from this conference. Lisa, Todd, and the team at Travel Oregon have done a great job of threading this throughout the entire conference. You'll hear about sustainability and stewardship and how to be a better industry partner. So if you take anything from this conference, it is to be better. I'm going to pass it over to Jessie, and you'll hear a little bit more from her.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jessie Fabrizio-Stober. I'm the Outdoor Recreation and Global Sales Coordinator with WAVA. I'm going to quickly speak to some regional partnerships we've been working on, and our priority with partnerships is to bring everyone to the table who wants to participate, whether that be community organizations, private institutions, our local DMOs, land managers. So an example of one we've recently engaged with is in consumer-facing sales. So we recently had a partnership with Southern Oregon and local DMOs at the Los Angeles Travel Association show. And we were really excited to participate in that partnership because we were increasing the range and breadth of our destination while showcasing more that you can do in Oregon, really fulfilling that Oregon travel experience. Another example of a regional partnership I will be speaking to in a presentation tomorrow, and my colleague Augusta will speak to in a couple of slides, was with the Environmental Leadership Program and Trail Keepers of Oregon. And then finally, the ornament hunt, the Willamette Valley ornament hunt that we put on every year. I believe it's been about 6 years now, in partnership with the Forest Service and Cascade Volunteers, is our way of really bringing community members and visitors to recreation in the winter months, bringing visitors to our rural communities when they need it the most. Next, speaking on the Mackenzie Regenerative Travel Project, this was a stewardship-oriented project to bring tourists into this wildfire-impacted area to boost local economies and increase opportunities for visitors and local businesses. And we learned a lot from this project in collaboration with First Nature, and we're taking those learnings onto our future projects focused on sustainable travel and sustainable recreation. So I'm going to hand it off to Augusta to speak to this next project.
Thanks, Jessie. Hi, my name is Augusta Stockman. I'm WAVA's Rare AmeriCorps member this year and Destination Development Coordinator. So Jessie mentioned our Accessible Trails project in partnership with TKO. And so what we've done here is there was trail accessibility data collected by University of Oregon students last spring through their environmental leadership program. We took that data, and this winter we uploaded it to TKO's OregonHikers.org hiking database and forum. And that was on about 20 trails in the Southern Valley. And this spring, we're working with TKO to recruit and train a team of volunteers to go out and survey about 10 more additional trails in the Mid and Upper Valley, so expanding that region-wide. And at the heart of this partnership is really the idea that information empowers, and everybody can benefit from being able to make better informed decisions about their outdoor recreation adventures. So we're really excited about this collaboration. Additionally, we have our adaptive mountain biking developments. This is a big part of our competitive grant that we received from Travel Oregon. And part of this is scoping 2 new destination level mountain biking systems in the valley. And it's really exciting to be able to plan with accessibility at the forefront, literally from the ground up. And additionally, we're bringing in a consultant who is an adaptive writer this summer to the valley to assess existing popular mountain biking trails in the valley, both to identify improvements, ways we can make those trails more friendly to adaptive riders, and to just make that information, those ratings, available to the public, because again, we believe that information is power. And I'm going to turn it over to Josh.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh Oakley. I'm the sports coordinator. Sometimes people just call me the sports guy at WAVA. At WAVA, collaboration is at the heart of our work that we do with sports tourism. My role here at WAVA was a partnership between WAVA and my university, Linfield. Go Wildcats. I don't know if there's any cats in the room, but go Cats. Now within the role, my aim is to support the work that the sports commissions within our region do as well as uplift those that might be outside of sports commissions. From the work that JB and his awesome team at Travel Lane County do to host world-class track and field events and numerous others, to the work that Luke and Katie do at Travel Salem to host amazing events such as Ironman, incredible sporting events continue to call the Willamette Valley home. I also look forward to working closely with smaller organizations and DMOs to help support the work that they do in the realm of sports tourism. Collaboration is vital to the development of sports tourism within the region, and I am proud to help support these efforts within my home. I also wanted to take a moment to encourage all of you to look within your own regions to find interns or young professionals that are seeking entry-level jobs to help gain that professional development and also workforce development as well. Thank you.
Thank you all again for joining us here in the Valley. Thank you to Travel Salem, Angie, Irene, and the team there. We're grateful for your partnership and all of our partners in the Valley. Thank you and enjoy the conference.
Perfect segue, as always, Danielle. It is now my great pleasure to welcome to our stage the CEO for Travel Salem, a leader in her own right, somebody who's been guiding the development and the growth and the sustainability and stewardship of Travel Salem's tourism industry in this great capital city that we're all in today. Please join me in welcoming Angie Villery.
Man, it's so nice to kind of see all of you out there. I see a full room, lots of friends. And I'm also going to introduce another one of my friends here in just a moment. But I want to welcome you to the Mid-Willamette Valley. Travel Salem represents Marion and Polk counties, and we just love the work that we do. We do call it the most Oregon part of Oregon for a lot of different wonderful reasons, but we're home to exceptional culinary experiences, cultural experiences. I want to thank and acknowledge our friends from the Grand Ronde and the Silettes who did a beautiful welcome to us, very gracious this morning. We're so blessed. And all of our incredible recreational assets that we have here. What a treasure. Oregon is just incredibly special. And one of the things that you're going to be experiencing today is another wonderful, special moment that really represents Oregon in the entire United States. This region is very diverse. We have all types of different kind of little microcosms in our ecosystem here. We have, in the Woodburn area, we have Mexican culture at its finest. I mean, you really feel like you've traveled to Mexico, and it's beautiful. The food, the art, all of that. You should go visit. We also have Little Bavaria here in our region in Mount Angel, and you're going to be experiencing that here this evening. They're going to actually recreate for you an Oktoberfest that comes with beer sausage, beer, lots of beer, a little bit of chicken dance, so get those arms ready to flap and do your thing. You're going to have a really, really great time tonight. I'd like to thank Travel Oregon for bringing you here this week. It's our shoulder season. We all know how hard it is to drive business during the shoulder season. So we're delighted to have you all here and experiencing what we have to offer. Now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce a friend of mine. And I do consider him more a friend than anything. When you get to know Mayor Hoy, I call him Chris. I actually also call him OG, the original gangster, because this person has single-handedly really helped shape the tourism sector here in our region, specifically Salem. Years and years ago, he helped, as the president of City Council, establish a fixed percentage in the tourism resources that were allocated to Travel Salem. That was a complete game changer. Then he followed that up and helped us implement our first tourism promotion area, which is the second TID in the state of Oregon. He also made that happen. He helped us recruit an Ironman, made that happen. And most recently, he helped us recruit in commercial air service. So this gentleman that's coming before you today is truly a giant in our community. He's a leader, he's visionary, he's incredibly just a good person. He comes from public safety background. He was a deputy sheriff, so this guy has a lot of talent to him, but he really cares about our community, and he has really helped create a tourism engine here that is, but you're gonna roast me. You are. The Jumbotron is already doing it, so don't do it anymore. No, but I really can't thank him enough, because I wish that all of our communities had an ambassador like this to help make tourism really, the engine just ticks. So thank you so much, Mayor Hoy.
I have a few jokes I'm going to tell this morning, and so she's nervous. Last night she was texting me on what she wanted me to say today. Of course, I was right in the middle of a city council meeting as she's telling me what to do. So if you're friends with Angie, you know that's kind of how things go. She's telling me, okay, you have to somehow slip in Mopo, the most Oregon part of Oregon. I said, no, I'm not going to say that. That's crazy. She said, I have to talk about the fact that we're in the heart of the Willamette Valley wine country. I'm like, everybody knows that. I'm not going to talk about that. But I do want to talk about commercial passenger air service, because I think it's a pretty cool deal. And we now have commercial passenger air service at the Salem Airport. We're flying to the LA Basin, to Vegas, and now soon to the other wine country down in California. And we're really hopeful for the Phoenix area very soon. That's been a great partnership with Travel Salem and with Fly Salem to get that service back here in Salem. Relaunching commercial passenger air service is no small task. But through just a lot of hard work from a lot of great people, we're able to do that. And we have people now coming to Salem to fly all over the place. We had a family from Vancouver drive to Salem recently to fly out of here because they saved so much money that they actually paid for a day of Disneyland through the savings that they achieved just by flying out of Salem. I have to tell you, I was on the first flight to Vegas. It was amazing. If you haven't been to the Sphere in Vegas, I highly recommend it. But from the time we landed in Salem until the time I was home, literally 30 minutes. From the wheels down, getting my bag, getting in my car, driving home, sitting in my recliner, 30 minutes. That's pretty remarkable. So it's been just such a great thing for our area. And I know Angie says last night, she was texting me, by the way, you only have 90 seconds to do this welcome. So I think I've probably taken up all that time. We are so glad that you are here in Oregon's capital. We are the second largest city in Oregon. Most people don't know that. They think that it's the city down south that's the second largest. We're actually the second largest by population and by area. And we are very proud to be Oregon's state capital, and we are very proud to have all of you here today. So welcome and thank you, and have a great conference.
Your leadership and support of the travel and tourism industry here in Salem and in the Mid-Willamette Valley has not gone unnoticed, sir. So thank you very much for your work here. And thank you, Angie, and thank you, Danielle, for hosting this conference here this year and for your very warm welcome today. You know, the theme for this year's conference is Stewarding Oregon's Future. And I believe that it's important for us to honor our past first, as we seek to build a resilient future. Right outside these doors, when you exit this breakfast in this general session this morning, you'll head out this door and you'll see our conference theme, Stewarding Oregon's Future. And if you walk through that arch, you'll see on the wall an oak tree with no leaves. More on this in just a moment, but I want you to hang on to that picture for just a moment, because that oak, that barren oak at this time, is an Oregon white oak. And as it becomes populated with leaves, more on this in just a moment, it's going to become a perfect symbol for our gathering here today. Not only for our gathering, but for us in Oregon's travel and tourism industry. In stewardship, the Oregon white oak has been an incredibly important food source for the indigenous peoples that have called this land home since time immemorial, as well as the wildlife that are abundant here. And the construct of the oak itself teaches us. The taproots dive deep, depicting the strength of the individual, while the adjacent roots spread and intertwine with other oaks, creating stability. Like the Oregon white oak, we as individuals can stand strong independently while simultaneously gaining stability through our collaboration with one another. And in the same way, I'm asking each and every one of you to find time today, take a moment today, sign a pledge of stewardship, of commitment to this place that we have the privilege to promote, and place it on that wall so that together we can look at this oak as a symbol of our potential power, of our collective strength. Napoleon Hill once said that the strongest oak of the forest is not the one that is protected from the storm and hidden from the sun. It's the one that stands in the open, where it is compelled to struggle for its existence against the winds and the rains and the scorching sun. Since our inception, Travel Oregon has been rooted in economic development. So when we declare in our 10-year strategic vision that we see Oregon as a welcoming state where tourism drives economic prosperity for all, we are stating unequivocally and unapologetically that we are committed to ensuring that tourism remains a strong and vibrant contributor to Oregon's economy today and into the future as well. My friends, I am blessed in many, many ways. But one I want to specifically call out this morning is that I am blessed to work with the most amazing team of tourism professionals found anywhere. I would put their wisdom, I would put their passion, I would put their expertise, and most importantly, I would put their heart up against the team from any other state tourism office in the country. Would you please join me in thanking the members of the Travel Oregon team for the work they do every day to make a difference for Oregon's travel and tourism industry. Would my friends at Travel Oregon please stand so we can thank you. You'll note the selfless individuals that they are. Many of them are in the back because they waited to make sure that the front tables were filled first and they would fill in behind. Well done, team. Really, really well done. And a testament to your humble and selfless spirit. You know, the tourism industry's success has long been defined by the number of heads and beds. And the metric is certainly important and certainly linked to increases in visitor spending and job creation and tax revenue generation. But I believe today we must expand our approach to what we mean when we speak of something as being better. Better has to mean something more than just being bigger. In fact, we believe that by slowing down, looking at the big picture with intentionality, we can not only contribute to the increase in economic vitality in Oregon, but we can also work to preserve the scenic wonder of our state, enhance the visitor experience, and increase livability and equity for residents and visitors alike. Travel Oregon's best work is reflected in its mission. The Travel Oregon inspires travel that uplifts Oregon communities. Collaborating with stakeholders and partners to align as stewards of Oregon, we will work to optimize economic opportunity, advance equity, and respect the ecosystems, the cultures, and the places that make Oregon, Oregon. Our 10-year strategic vision is the right and necessary work that's going to create jobs, revere the natural environment, and preserve a quality of life for all of us who call Oregon home. For this reason, this usual keynote time is actually being broken up throughout the conference into 4 different, kind of mini keynotes of sorts. Because I want to take a few minutes at each of our general sessions to speak to one of the objectives contained in our 10-year strategic vision. These 4 objectives are: Oregon's tourism economy is flourishing. Oregon respects its natural environments. Oregon delivers remarkable experiences. And Oregon is striving to be a place of equity. Let me begin with the first one. Oregon's tourism economy is flourishing. In 2019, the tourism industry generated $12.8 billion in visitor spending and employed more than 118,000 Oregonians. I don't need to remind any of you that the impact of COVID-19 on travel was both swift and severe. But Oregonians, the communities that we live in, and the tourism industry here showed incredible resiliency. If living through a global pandemic has taught us anything, it's that together we can adapt and we can thrive in the face of great challenge. Seeing the many ways in which we continue to lift one another up following a global time of crisis fills me with optimism and hope for our future together. So it's a tremendous pleasure for me to reinforce for you all this morning what we heard the governor say to us last night, that in 2023, Oregon's travel and tourism industry generated $14 billion in visitor spending, supporting over 118,500 jobs with $4.5 billion in earnings. That means since 2020 and the onset of COVID, we have regained 26,000 jobs in Oregon's travel and tourism industry and $1.4 billion in earnings to support those jobs. Now, admittedly, the recovery that we've experienced has not been balanced across the state. And some of our international markets are still struggling with how best to encourage their citizens to travel. But make no mistake, the recovery is occurring. The industry's resiliency is palpable, and Oregon is continuing to experience the economic, the reputational, and the pride-boosting benefits that come with it. Our charge as an agency and as an industry is to work to see these benefits resulting in balanced and optimized growth. Guiding these efforts is a group of selfless individuals who volunteer their time and their expertise and their wisdom to influencing the strategic direction of our industry, as well as Travel Oregon's strategic plans and budgets. Please join me in recognizing the 9 individuals, the members of the Oregon Tourism Commission. Would you all please stand? They and all of us want Oregon's economy to flourish, and we want those ripple effects to be felt in every community and across every season. We want our workforce, our residents, and our policymakers to be aware of and advocating for a vibrant and vital tourism industry for Oregon. We're going to make sure we're telling authentic stories that reflect the diverse cultures and people and places of Oregon, and we'll share them in a manner that can help address visitor pressures, dispersing visitation geographically and seasonally, adding to a more stable year-round pattern of visitation, which creates opportunities for more year-round, career-oriented employment for our workforce. Yes, my friends, sales and marketing can truly be definitive destination management tools. To share more about how innovation can power the use of marketing as a means of stewarding our destination and driving inspiration for travel to and within the great state of Oregon, please welcome to our stage Mo Sherifdeen, Travel Oregon's Director of Integrated Marketing, and Brian Mullaney, our Director of Strategy, Research, and Analytics. Mo, Brian, come on up.
Hello, Brian.
Hi, Mo. How's it going?
And it's going well. How are you?
Good. Did you have a good weekend?
I did.
Good to hear.
Good. How's your family?
You know, we're doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Wait, are we live?
Oh, this is definitely not Zoom.
So we're not on Zoom.
We are not on Zoom anymore.
Got it. We are still hybrid, remote first, so getting used to it. So should we talk Travel Oregon with Travel Oregon and some analytics?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. As you all know, advertising campaigns are like invitations to explore new places. For Travel Oregon, advertising is our way of saying, hey, come visit, and let us show you all the ways you can plan your perfect Oregon trip. Our new campaign, Travel Oregon with Travel Oregon, uses sidekicks to highlight Oregon's friendly vibe. It also embraces our role in a new way, emphasizing how we are a resource for trip planning in Oregon. And we showcase real Oregonians as guides, making them heroes in the process. This almost always-on campaign is key to fulfilling our long-term vision. It's a flexible platform that adapts to various advertising goals throughout the year, while maintaining a consistent Oregon identity. Oregon has become a really popular destination in the last 20 years. But popularity brings challenges, like managing capacity to certain regions at certain times. This campaign helps address these issues. The marketing needs of Oregon's diverse communities vary greatly, and our campaign framework allows us to be nimble to support the industry where it might deliver the most results, most impact. So, while the ads you see on Hulu and YouTube featuring our sidekicks are memorable, they are just the tip of the iceberg. Their main goal is to drive people to TravelOregon.com, or follow us on social media like Pinterest, Facebook, TikTok, etc., where they can dive deep into everything Oregon has to offer, from our fresh hop festivals to our unique lodging properties and our agricultural delights. For instance, last fall, we used our campaign to highlight Oregon's food trail system. We invited social influencers Gwen and Amy to visit the Great Oaks Food Trail in Polk County. Let's take a look at their adventure.
Did you know that Oregon has 11 food trails? These self-guided tours make for a perfect weekend adventure and let you visit the best restaurants, bakeries, farm stands, and wineries in the state. So how does visiting work? You can pick up or download a map for free and then plan your self-guided adventure. Whether you're looking for family-friendly restaurants or planning an adults-only day visiting Oregon's famed vineyards, you'll find adventures perfect for every palate. During your trip, we also recommend checking out nearby hikes, visiting some of the local shops, and staying in one of the boutique hotels along the food trail. Whatever you do, we can promise you'll have a fun and delicious adventure. Cheers!
So Brian, I should have asked this before we came in. Did you remember to track this?
That's funny you should ask, Mo. I happen to have a number of slides on that very topic right here. But before jumping into the results, I think it's important to highlight why our advertising campaigns drive traffic to TravelOregon.com. Our data from Arrivalist, a company that we use to provide insight on consumer behavior, tells us that media combos that include exposures to our website drive arrivals that are 4.2 times more efficient than those arrivals where we were just using paid media channels only. And additionally, in our 2022 visitor profile study, we learned that visitors who come to Oregon and go to TravelOregon.com have a daily per person spend that is 11% higher than that of the general traveler to Oregon. So Mo, let's dive into those numbers now. When it comes to providing impact to our communities across Oregon, we like to highlight the success of our most recent Travel Oregon with Travel Oregon campaign, or as we like to call it, the TOTO campaign. From August to November 2023, we generated over 760,000 sessions to TravelOregon.com, resulting in 35% of those being engaged sessions as defined by Google in GA4. And looking into our crystal ball, these 760,000 sessions, combined with what we are seeing with TOTO Winter and TOTO Spring, should have us beating our fiscal web session goal by over 12%. And with Expedia, we generated a return on ad spend of over $15 million, bolstering hotel revenue across the state. And on the video front, we generated over 47 million video completes across all of our media channels, including broadcast, social media, Google, and YouTube. And of that 47 million, 5 million of those video completes were just for our Spanish language videos. And this is a great example of how our campaign allowed us to reach a diverse audience. So what's another way that our campaign helped to provide economic impact across the state? Well, going back to Arrivalist, we learned that our visitors who saw our Toto ads stayed 14% longer than those who did not see our ads. So if we use our average per party trip spend from our 2022 visitor profile survey, that 14% stay lift would provide an incremental spend of $352 per party trip. And now I'll pass it back to Mo to introduce our keynote speaker. Oh, Mo, you're on mute.
Oh.
You're on mute, there.
Thanks, Brian. I hope you guys appreciated those Zoom jokes. We worked on it for a long time.
We tried.
I am so excited to hear from our keynote speaker this morning. The first ever Chief Heart Officer for VaynerMedia, an emotional optimist, Claude Silver. Claude believes that cultivating emotional optimism is the most effective tool in revealing the greatness that resides within people. In her work as a speaker, thought leader, and industry trendsetter, Claude focuses on teaching people and organizations how to integrate heart into their professional lives to disrupt the traditional HR model with the use of emotional optimism and heart-centered leadership. She likes to develop elite performance, create cultures of belonging, empower teams to be purpose-driven, efficient and strong, and infuses companies with empathy, humanity, and joy. Friends, please give me a great big organ welcome to Claude.
Thank you for the intro, Todd, Lisa, everyone in this room. Thank you for having me. I'm moving here immediately. I'm going back to New York, packing up the 2 small kids, and we're coming out here. I am hooked, for sure. I get the great privilege of sharing with you, I'm not gonna stand there if that's okay, I'll walk back and forth, sharing with you what I think is really things that you already know. Really, how to be self-aware, how to touch other people, how to build great cultures. So some of these things might be very, like, yeah, I got it, Claude, so I'll look for Todd, he'll give me that, no, I'm joking about that. We're gonna start off with a quick video. I just wanna ask everyone, does anyone know Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V? Anyone follow Gary V on social? Okay, great. He's my boss. He's gonna drop an F-bomb. Excuse me for that.
You could have ended up being a bus, a tree. You're a student. All you want to do is read and consume and ponder and make pretend and talk about how you're gonna. Fuck you're gonna. Go do it. It took me a long time to hire the person to really run our HR. Her name is Claude Silver. She's our Chief Heart Officer. She, on the org chart, sits ahead of my COO and my CFO. She's the second most important person in my company. She leads with her heart.
People need people, and then people need people that listen, and then people need people that listen and do something. I believe in people, and I see the good in the everyday. I build teams rooted in a generosity of spirit and a belief in possibility. I unlock people so that they can become their own champions, and I celebrate the little as well as the big victories. All right, let's get on with it. So I'm sitting in this room, and I've been sitting there for about an hour or so listening to everyone talk, and what I have gathered is this room is full of culture. This room is filled with all of the different ingredients that is needed to make a minestrone soup. And without Sarah, or without you, it wouldn't taste the same. I just want to acknowledge that because it is a really powerful, warm room. That's something I just want to say. Before we get started, as a matter of fact, can everyone stand up and just stretch, do a quick power pose? Let's get ready. We're going to bring up the energy here. Just do a power pose, stretch, whatever you need to do. Get the blood flowing. All right, cool, thank you. So everything I believe about building great cultures starts with these next two slides. Be someone that other people want in the room. Do we ever think about that? When we walk into a room, when we walk onto Zoom, how are we showing up? How are we showing up for our peers? How are we showing up for our partners? How are we showing up for our families? Something to think about. And how do we know we're showing up like that? We look at body language, intent, the nods, whatnot. Be someone that other people want in the room is something that I think is extremely important when we're talking about building great teams, which this entire room is, one great team. Obviously, you have your different regions and your different departments, but it's very, very obvious to me that you are one great big team. The next thing, and I can walk off the stage after this because really everyone did my presentation already, which is great. The last line here obviously is the clincher. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. How you make someone feel, whether or not that is a tourist, a team member, family member, your boss, someone that reports to you, is everything. And this is the red thread that I'll talk about here as we go through this keynote presentation and talk about really how do we show up? How do we show up for ourselves? How do we show up for our team? And how do we show up for our company and our culture? And I've already heard some great messages of how you are showing up, which is absolutely incredible. So, we know that in the not so distant past, in the distant past, I should say, a lot of our jobs were very manual. We were putting shoes on horses and tires on cars. And then we moved into the information age, which of course we're still in some way, shape, or form, which took a lot of headspace, which took a lot of thinking. It really, really took our brains. My belief, and actually in sitting in this room and listening, is that we are absolutely moving into the new paradigm of leadership, which I consider to be empathetic leadership, rooted in compassion and care for ourselves and for others. Again, how you make someone feel is really all they're going to remember. So we're beginning a shift in our leadership in corporations and in companies that move from a top-down ivory tower, this person is kind of the omnipotent and knows everything, into a better world where we lift one another up, where we all have a voice, where we can all share, where we can all ask questions. Here's a question for you. Who is the smartest person in this room? That person. Who's the smartest person in this room? The room. The room. The sum of you is what makes this room so powerful. It's not Todd, it's not Lisa, it's not Sarah, it's not Lizette. It's all of you together, like I said, the minestrone soup. And we need each and every one of you to show up as your authentic self so that you can bring your best self forward and do this incredible work of bringing more jobs to the state, bringing more people into the state, and really flourishing. So, again, I call this empathetic leadership, and this is all about showing up. I'm moving from side to side. I hope that's okay. Okay, cool. This is like almost as tall as I am, so I feel like if I stand there, I'll be hidden. So leading with heart, right? My title is Chief Heart Officer, best title in rock and roll. I know that. I consider that any single person that works with people that really has a lust, a desire to work with people and help them get from point A to B to C to D, help them with their limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome, help them with their challenges, help them navigate things with their boss. I believe that each and every one of you is a CHO. It's not just Claude. I do have a great title. My boss is very avant-garde, as you can tell. But you're all CHOs. You're all taking care of people at the core. You are bringing people into this state. So a lot of times people are like, oh, leading with heart, Claude, isn't that so sweet? You know, yeah, sure, it's kind, but no one's gonna ever meet me and say you're sticky and sweet. It's not about being sticky and sweet. It's about having the strength and the courage to lead with empathy, to lead with what you believe in is needed. Again, how do you show up every single day? It's about inspiring and empowering. It's about being emotionally optimistic, which, by the way, the first chief talked about. We can't do anything about yesterday. It's all about today. We wake up and there's a new day, a new dawn, and we're able to do something. There are a lot of rules that have been made in corporations and in societies, and it's time to really have a good look at them and potentially debunk them. Because this is a new dawn. It's a new day right here, right now, for all of you in this room, for the state, for everyone. So let's go back. I'm going to go back in time a little bit, and then I'm going to go back in time, then we're going to get current. So I was never in HR. I never wanted to be in HR. Is there anyone in HR in this room? Cool. So I'm not going to say anything that's poisonous. I never, ever wanted to be in HR. I trained as a psychotherapist a million years ago, and that's what I thought I would do. And it was 1998, and I was in San Francisco, and what do you know, the first .com boom, and I got swept away into this wonderful world of digital. I've always had this desire to be with people, as I've already mentioned. So when I met Gary, and as a matter of fact, I was living in London. I was a strategist. So the last guys that showed the campaigns, I used to do a lot of that. I used to find out like what the demographic is, what the audience wants, what are they eating, what are they chewing on, whatnot, and then I'd serve up some ads, right? Create those ads. I met Gary. I moved to New York, met Gary. I've been with him 10 years, my longest relationship ever, which is great. Curious, but great. And immediately he had me. He hired me to do a different job. I was a strategist and leading our biggest account, and I got very, very tired of trying to figure out how to get this into your mouth, how to get this into your pocket. How are you going to buy this pack of gum that fits perfectly into your palm? Just didn't want to do that anymore. And he had started sending me to other offices. And when I said to him, "Hey, that's great. I'm happy to go to San Francisco. I'm happy to go to London. That's awesome." But the company I work for is Unilever, and it's right across the river in New Jersey. He said, "That's okay, just go do that thing that you do." And that thing that you do is the thing that I do is the thing that you do, which is touch people, which is show up, which is make things better for people. So one thing led to another. I said, "Thank you so much. You're the best, best, best." That's what you say to him. And I love this company, which is very, very true, but I don't want to do advertising anymore. And he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I only care about the heartbeat of this company." Heart. You know when you feel it. You know when you feel it in your teams and in your companies and in your family and in your churches and synagogues and soccer teams and whatnot. So he sat me down. He said, that's it. You're going to be Chief Heart Officer. And I knew what that meant because it just felt right. So, of course, someone that had been, I'd been in the working world for a while, I asked him a couple questions. What are we doing? Okay, that's cool. What are we doing here? What are we building here? Because I had already been there for 16 months. So you always want to know what the vision is. 10-year strategic plan we just looked at. And he said, "We are building the single greatest human organization in the history of time. Aspirational, sign me up, the job's never going to be done. Okay, cool, I want to do that." Then I said to him, "How do we know if I'm successful? There's no job description out there. There's nothing on LinkedIn, right? This is something I'm creating." I said, "How do we know if I'm successful?" And he said, "You will touch every single human being and infuse the agencies with heart, with empathy." We were 450 at that time. Now we're 2,000. So scaling that has been something that I think about every single day and try to implement that. So that's the job description. 8 years in, I've been with him for 10 years. 8 years I've been doing this job. And that's the job description, which I believe is everyone's job description. or needs to be a part of that job description. My mission, no matter what I was doing, whether or not I was living in London, whether or not I was washing dishes in a restaurant, it doesn't really matter, was to really empower people to feel psychologically safe and as though they belong. I want people to feel like they can come in and let their freak flag fly. That's it. I want people to feel safe enough to feel like they can ask the questions, the introverts in the back can show up. I want to create brave places of work, of culture. So simply put, my job is really putting the hearts of others into my heart. That's what I think about. I meet with people on a one-on-one basis in groups, do a lot of leadership trainings, whatnot. We can get into that another day. So I'm going to go back in time now, and I have a feeling there's some people in the room that can probably relate to this. So in my early adolescent years, I grew up in Santa Fe, by the way, great place. You know, I was a sponge. I was a very, very, very emotional person. I felt a lot. And these are the things that people that loved me, my parents and teachers, would tell me all the time. You think too much with your heart, Claude. Remember, potential has a shelf life. Work on your weaknesses. Come on, work on your weaknesses. I took algebra 3 times. Highly dyslexic person here, really. Algebra 3 times, SATs 3 times, untimed. I still got a 1050. You need to give yourself options. These are the things I heard on repeat, which I imagine some of you also heard. They came from a loving place. But the way I digested them in this brain, in the narrative, right, was, you don't belong. You don't belong. I thought I was missing a chip. I really did. I thought I was missing like that Intel processing chip right here. And if I had that, I would be like everyone else. I'd be a great student. I'd be able to remember things. I'd have a photographic memory, all of those things that I thought were so like normal, right? And that everyone had. Little did I know, we're all functioning in our own way. I definitely felt like I wasn't smart. That is for sure. And that's a narrative I carried with me until my 30s, I will say. I was focused on 99% of things that didn't matter. Things didn't matter. And I really, really, really imagined that my legacy or tombstone would be, there's Claude, she had potential. What a bummer, right? What a real bummer. But that's how we are. Sometimes adolescence sucks sometimes. But this is what happened to me. Nothing wrong with the people that told me these things. This is just how I interpreted that. So I want to introduce you to my Nana. She died at 101. This is her on her 100th birthday. Not a gray hair in her head, never dyed her hair. What is your name? Bobby. Bobby? Can we play for a sec? Sure. Okay, cool. So Nana was the most empathetic person, generous person I've ever met in my entire life. And she really, thank God, she really emotionally raised me. So we would go into Trader Joe's, or we would go in the flower store. Let's say we're in Trader Joe's. And Bobby's our cashier. And here's Nana, and here I am. Nana at that time was probably like my height. She used to be taller. And she'd hand Bobby her credit card, and Bobby, you would hand it back. Thank you. And of course, you have her name tag on here. And Nana would say, Bobby? You'd say, uh-huh. Would you do me a favor and have a peaceful day? And walk out. Thank you. Every single time. On her answering machine, and she did have an answering machine, it wasn't like, she didn't know the cell phone, it would say, this is B, have a peaceful day. Like, who does that at 90, 95, 100? This person did. And the most amazing thing is she started calling me Heart when I was about 7 years old. And she lived long enough to see that I got this title, Chief Heart Officer, which was wonderful. This is a letter she left for me after she died, and you can see it says, my heart. Would you do me a favor and have a peaceful day? People remember how you made them feel. And that gives someone a little tingle, a little pep in their step. So again, let's think about what we do every single day to leave someone feeling like they have a pep in their step. Okay, so I left college after my sophomore year. I was going nowhere fast, bad drugs, bad boys, bad decisions. And I said to my parents, I need to get out of here. I'm one of those people that, I was on the waiting list for schools. I only got into one on the waiting list, so I should have really just bailed and taken a year off, but I didn't. And I said to my parents, I need to find like the longest Knowles or Outward Bound course. And of course, I found one, 93 days. Colorado Outward Bound, 93 days. I was the only young woman, and I was with 9 young men. We were all 18, 19, 20 years old. And the first day, we're in Colorado, we're all carrying 80, 85 pounds on our back, even myself. And remember, I had come from a place of bad decisions and bad drugs and bad boys. So I was not in shape, let's just put it that way. And the first day, we're in Leadville, Colorado, and we're about to climb 1,000 feet, and it's snowing like crazy, and I am so ill-prepared. I have on one of those rain slickers that has baseball cap bib, so I could continue. It's snowing. The incline is 1,000 feet. We have to, I don't know how far we had to hike until we got to a place that we could put our tarps down. No, we did not have tents for 93 days. No, we did not have toilet paper. No, you can imagine. And I'm at the bottom. I'm crying, and I'm crying, and I'm crying, and I want to break my leg. I literally want to just break my leg so I can go home. And the instructor comes all the way down to me, and she says, "What is going on in your head?" And this is what I said. "Head like a hole, black as your soul. I'd rather die than give you control." What's wrong with that? That's what was going on in my head, right? Was I really going to climb up that mountain with that in my head? No. And she said to me, she looked at me dead in the face under this bib I had here, this bill, and she said, "You better get another song in your head." And that was day one. Eventually, I did get another song in my head. But what I learned right then and there, let's see if I can do, sorry, I got to go backwards. Right then and there, what I learned was that only I can change this narrative. Now, it took me several years to actually change the narrative. But that was the first time someone really told me that I have the power to do that. It's not going to be with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's not going to be in a self-help book. It's not going to be taking the SATs. It's only me. I have the power and the ability to change that narrative. So 93 days later, we came out, different person. I learned all about what is called servant leadership. I call it empathetic leadership for hopefully obvious reasons. And I learned that everything I was about actually had a name. It was called emotional intelligence. It actually was that I was smart. I was smart. It's just I wasn't smart in the way that you get graded on. I wasn't smart on the way that the tests would tell you were smart. But these are a lot of the traits that Nana had taught me. And a lot of things here that I'm sure you embody as well. Self-awareness, the ability to self-regulate, a growth mindset, resilience we talked a lot about already today, right? Adaptability, emotional courage, compassion, kindness. Empathy is a big word right now. It's used a lot. And empathy is a wonderful word. When people say to me, "Hey, Claude, can you teach empathy?" This is what I say. Empathy is a feeling. How we show empathy every single day to ourselves and to others is through kindness and compassion. And I have a 2.5-year-old, and we are teaching her that right now. So, can you teach someone empathy? Yes. We learn that as little people. It's not that difficult, and it costs us nothing. And someone said that earlier today, which I really appreciate. When you do a good deed for someone, it costs us nothing. My friend over there, that friend, right? You said the same exact thing. You basically said, go do something kind for someone. Thank a service person. Hold the door open. It costs nothing, and yet it feeds you so much. So I put together this trail, what I call a trail map for empathetic leadership. Again, things that you already know, but let's just talk through some of these. Humanity is our superpower. Humanity is our superpower. Being human is a strength. Emotional bravery, being emotionally brave. Okay, this might suck. This might suck. Oh my God, I'm telling myself terrible things, but I'm still going to put one foot in front of the other, leads to emotional optimism. What I call emotional optimism is really the ability to feel your feelings, which we all have, and are feelings allowed in the workplace? Yes. We just want to teach people how to self-regulate. The ability to feel our feelings, as bad, as sad, as yucky, as whatever they are, but know that tomorrow's a different day. Know that with support, talking to someone about this, sharing what you're going through with another person, you will get through it. You will get through it. And optimists do great things in life. Not that pessimists don't, but my belief is that optimists see hope so clearly that you're able to actually go forward sometimes without a plan. We eliminate fear. Why? How? Well, we find out where the fear and the cynicism is coming from, and we infuse that area, that culture, that team with safety, physical and psychological safety. And that's it's funny, a lot of terms right now that used to belong in the DSM-3, 4, 5, psychological terms are now being used in the workplace. Psychological safety, empathy, those types of things. We trust first. We forgive first. We build teams, not tribalism, tribes, where everyone has a job and everyone is respected. We're high touch. Hey, how are you? Text someone, hey, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. Hey, happy birthday. Love to catch up one day. We're guided by kindness and candor. We stay teachable. Doing the right thing is never the wrong thing. And by the way, we know what the right thing is. We always know what the right thing is inside. We just might not listen to that. Or we might get, we might have FOMO and do whatever the other people are doing. Doing the right thing is always the right thing. We create and hold space for people. That is something that makes a phenomenal team. You want to know how someone will remember how you made them feel? Create space for them to say whatever it is they need to say. Because guess what? You don't have to have the answers. You can come up with some solutions with them. You don't have to have the answers. I don't need to be the smartest person in this room, and God knows I'm not. We've already talked about that. We are coaches and Sherpas and guides for others. And you put this all again into this trail map, and as long as you are consistent and with great intent, this works. This works. You're already doing it. You're already doing it. So, showing up. This is what we started talking about in the beginning. The state of being present and expressing yourself, your messy self, right? I'm just as messy as the next person. The ability to allow room for others, the team, the herd, to express themselves, no matter what it is. I'm not afraid of what happens at work because I know that our intention is good, and I know that we'll find solutions for people with anything that comes our way, with the exception of a health concern. If someone wants to switch teams, if someone doesn't like their boss, if someone's, God forbid, was harassed, if someone had terrible feedback about someone, whatever it is, we can find solutions because we work together, because we come from a place of kindness, compassion, and care, just like this room does. And showing up really requires us to identify that we have armor on and to take it down. Somewhere, somehow, we came into the workplace a long time ago, before us, we were in the workplace, and we were told to not show any parts of ourselves, to just keep the armor on. Don't come close. You don't know me. I don't want to know you. Punching in, punching out, thank you very much. But imagine when we take down that armor and let down our guard, how much more creativity and innovation we come up with together. Again, I know it's in this room. I feel it in this room. I know that you are all working in your different silos or departments, but you're all here together for one reason, to make this the most incredible destination, to give jobs to this incredible state. So, leadership. I consider you all leaders in this room. I consider you all Chief Heart Officers in this room. You do not need to mark your territory like a dog to be a leader. You just need to share it. You just need to share it. I believe leaders lead with love. That is my belief. Now, there are some that don't, but my belief is we are moving into this new paradigm that I talked about, which is care, empathetic leadership, where I actually give a you-know-what about you, where I actually saw that you got a new puppy on Instagram, or you got engaged, or something great or something terrible happened. I know this about you because we're all looking at each other's lives. Leaders lead with love. All right, let's talk a little bit about teamwork. So what I love about this quote from the one and only Kobe is this is what he said, how he shows up for his team every single day. I should say, RIP, how he did show up. I'll do whatever it takes to win games, whether it's sitting on a bench, waving a towel, handing a cup of water to a teammate, or hitting the game-winning shot. This is how this guy showed up every single day. So that's amazing. It's amazing. And he brought his team to many, many, many victories. So let's talk about what empathy sounds like and what empathy does not sound like, because this is really good to have this in the back of your head, especially when you want to reach out to that person and you don't exactly know what to say. I got your back. You're safe with me. I support you. There's nothing you can break that we cannot put back together. And that's the truth, right? I'm grateful for your work. Thank you. Thank you goes so far. I recognize you. You matter to me. Tell me more. I'd like to know more about that idea. Here's what's going on, transparency. Let me tell you more about what the decisions that were just made. And sitting down with someone and say, how do you work best? Right? How do you work best? Don't just give them the SAT. Maybe they don't do SATs well. Maybe they don't do multiple choice well. I'm using that as figuratively. I got your back. You are safe with me. It's just the same feeling as putting your hand on someone's shoulder and being like, I got you. I got you. We know what empathy, lack of empathy sounds like already. You know, everyone's replaceable. I had my first boss in my life in San Francisco said to me, he came behind me one day. I was running this really small Whole Foods market way before Whole Foods was ever invented. And he came behind me. I was at the cash register, and he said, you know, everyone's replaceable. And I was like, why? Why would you even do that? Why would you say that, right? Fear. He wanted me to know that he was the big man on campus. Cool, it was his company. Why'd you do it that way? Thanks, I'll take it from here. Let's just do it my way. Let's just do it this way. Anyway, the point here is the left-hand column. This is where we want to play. This is where we want to stay. And I'm sure these are things that you are already saying and hopefully being said to you as well. Serena, you know, you think about tennis as such an individual sport. It's not. It is a team sport. Teamwork is everything. Success is rarely a solo effort. Teamwork is the secret sauce to achieving our goals. Every member contributes to the overall victory and understanding that the collective power is what fuels greatness. It's about trust, communication, and supporting each other's strengths. It's about unity, resilience, and lifting each other up. We work together, we learn together, and we celebrate together. And together, we go further and achieve what might seem impossible alone. This is teamwork. And I believe I'm speaking to people that show up in teams like this. You would not have the energy that this room has if you didn't. Teamwork, you work together. And by the way, that also means if you're going through something hard and a challenge, find support, find that person who's going to be your anchor. You don't have to go through things alone. And I say that all the time to our employees. No one here needs to suffer in silence. That's not going to work. That's just going to create more fear. and alienation, which we know we have way too much of in this world as it is. Don't need to suffer in silence. Share. Let someone in. Be vulnerable. We're all seeing the same articles when you go onto Yahoo News or whatever new Apple News. Leadership, the new empathetic leadership, vulnerable leadership skills, vulnerability, humility. We're seeing all of the same things. This is what this new world is about. This is what we're here to do. We are here to care about one another. And what I firmly believe is that this work is actually spiritual work. This work is like there's something very holy about it. There's something very holy about connecting with one another. I don't say that all the time. I'll be really, really honest, but I really felt like I could say that in this room. There's something really special about working in a team and building resilience and building that backbone together. So culture, something that we've been talking about since the day opened up here. Culture, culture, culture. The root of the word comes from cultura, which means cultivation of the soul. I love that. I don't even know how to articulate it, but I love it. That's what I love. Culture exists in the hearts and the minds of people. It's not going to be denim or paisley or blue or yellow. It's very difficult to see culture sometimes, but you can feel it. And it resides in each and every one of us, and we bring that forward every day in how we show up, how we make someone feel, how we enter that room. Who are we when we enter that room? And establishing a culture of belonging, which is a goal, a massive goal of mine, begins with every individual feeling empowered and willing to bring their genuine, authentic selves to the table, to the workplace. And that takes courage, and that takes a risk. But you're not going to be alone. That's the thing. There are other people, just like there are other dyslexics out there. There are other people in this room that didn't do well on their SATs either. I'm not alone. It's a humongous thing to really take in, that you're not alone. There's a whole world, there's a whole community waiting for you to show up and be a badass. Now, Brene Brown says it better than anyone else could. People know who Brene Brown is here? Cool. If you don't, please, please, please look her up on YouTube. True belonging does not require you to change who you are. It only requires you to be who you are. The organization adopts you. The organization embraces you. You show up for that person and let that person know, I got you. It's your first day of work, I got you. Your second day of work, I'll take you to lunch. Your third day of work, let me introduce you to 5 people. I got you. Such a great feeling. Empathy in the workplace is not just about listening. It's not just about listening. It is about actively engaging with your team and understanding where they're coming from, their feelings, their perspectives. Why? Be curious. I think of empathy, quite frankly, as not putting myself in someone else's shoes. I actually don't think of that. I think of empathy as riding shotgun with a person. I'm a passenger on the journey, if you let me be. If you say, hey, Claude, I'd love it if you could sit with me for a second. Hey, Claude, can I run something by you? Hey, friend. Sitting with them as a passenger. Again, you don't have to have the answers, my friends. You just show up as you. DE&I, we talk a lot about that. I heard that this morning as well. We know that DE&I is a tool. It is not the end-all, be-all. You cannot buy a DE&I book off the shelf and then infuse it into your organization and think that all of a sudden there's going to be equity for all and inclusivity at all. You have to work at it. You have to work at making sure that you are thinking about your different groups, the different populations that you're catering to, obviously, the tourists, but also the people that you work with every day, and also the people that belong in this fine state, right? Building an inclusive culture isn't the responsibility of the CEO or of your HR department. It's everyone's responsibility. It's everyone's responsibility. to take care of people, to make sure that there is representation. And already today, there's been a heck of a lot of representation at this conference. I love this. There's actually proven research that people catch emotions from one another. You know how we kind of like catch sneezes or yawns from one another? I don't know how that happens. I really don't. But there is actual fundamental research that says we catch emotions from one another. We catch feelings. So, this is not the slide I wanted. This is the slide I wanted. Let's talk about attention and generosity. Let's talk about catching those things. So I think about generosity as the grandparent to attention. When you give someone attention, like you're giving me, and I want to thank you for that, I feel it, it gives me a sense of well-being, of calm confidence, of like, I got this, I can do this. Even if I came up here and stuttered, I still would have you. I know that you would catch me. I feel that. Thank you. And it feels good. Generosity, wow, that's an energy. Generosity is an energy. That's what I think Nana did. Would you have a peaceful day? Generosity unlocks the hormone oxytocin, which we hear about a lot, the love drug, the hugging drug. You know, it really promotes a sense of love and bonding. And of course, newborns and moms get it immediately, or the parent that is there to take the newborn in, or the caretaker. It's called the love hormone. And attention unlocks serotonin, which we get from chocolate. Think about, remember, this is all about showing up. Think about how you show up and how you show attention, how you give someone generosity, how you give someone your time, your spirit, your heart. Think about what it's like when you receive that from someone else. You feel good. You feel safe. You feel seen. You feel like you might even matter to them. The way you see people is the way you treat them, and the way you treat them is what they become. So let's break this down for a second. The way you see a colleague or a person on their first day of work or someone you haven't seen in a while, the way you see them, the way you treat them is really what will end up happening because you have so much influence over each other. We have so much influence over one another. So if you see someone as perfectly imperfect and doing the best they can, and you treat them like that, other people will do that too. And that person will get that burst of great energy, of attention, like, okay, I can shoot for the moon here. There's people here that got me. Alternatively, and I don't know if any of you have ever been on a phone call, like remember when we had the bat phones before COVID, and you're on a call, and the client says something very ding-dongy, and someone rolls their eyes, and the other people in the room are like, yeah, that client sucks, right? You catch that. You catch emotions. So I don't even need to say any more on this slide other than when I say aim to elevate, you're already doing that with one another. This room would not be packed if you weren't. 550 people standing over there with people standing. You're already doing that in this room. So, you know what I told my younger self already. Let's talk about what I would go back and tell her now. Hey, Claude, be big in the room. Take a swing. Give yourself permission to feel. It's okay that you think too much with your heart. That's a gift. Give myself permission to fail, because we know that if we don't fail, we'll never really know what success looks like. So fail. It's okay. You pick yourself back up. Your people pick you up. Focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. That's what I really believe as an adult now. Sure, I might say something different to my kids, but as an adult in her 50s, like I'm shooting for the moon here with my strengths. My weaknesses, you know, I'm aware, and unless they are bothering someone else, I'm okay with that. And always say, Claude, you don't get points for holding back. So show up. So be your big self. So what? Other people need you. Other people need you to shine. So we're almost done here. I wanted to end with this quote and one other thing. Great quote from Nelson Mandela. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It's the difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the life we lead. That's what this room is doing. You're doing it for the tourists, you're doing it for one another, you're doing it for the state, you're doing it for the county, you're doing it for the city, all of that. It's the difference we have made. Think of the first quote we saw from Maya Angelou. It's the same thing. So, quick things that you could do right here, right now, today, which I'm sure you're already doing. Practice vulnerability. Share yourself with someone. Be open about an experience or a challenge. Active listening and empathy. We've talked a lot about that. It's engaging in conversations. That's really having the eye connection. Even on a Zoom, we can do that. I find Zoom to be, quite frankly, a little bit intimate because I'm just looking at you. Or I'm looking at 50 people, but I'm looking at them. They can tell, they know when I'm looking at my phone, which I try not to do. Engage in conversations. Ask questions. Be curious. Lean forward. Show that you care. Recognize and encourage contributions. This is something that we've already said, and my friend over there said it as well, which is say thank you. Appreciate someone, recognize them. Even if you haven't spoken to them in a year, go through your phone. I go through my phone a lot, or I go on Slack and I'm like, okay, let's go to the P's. Oh, I haven't talked to Pilar in a while. Let me just say, hey, I'd love to catch up with you. Authentically, though. Say thank you. And most important, say thank you to yourself, because you're the ones that show up every single day, and you are the red thread for the team and for the culture. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you all. Thank you, thank you.
Sometimes it's okay to stand at the podium and just be quiet so you can just kind of continue to let it sink in a little bit. In the spirit of being vulnerable, I had, shall we say, a somewhat similar situation early in life where it was thinking too much with the heart. Thankfully, later in life, I met somebody who is now my wife and has been for almost 40 years, who introduced me to Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who wrote The Little Prince. And the staff have heard me use this quote several times. Many of you are probably very, very familiar with it, but it's one that I cling to, that it's only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. So lead with kindness, compassion, care, and recognize and encourage contributions. Claude, thank you for being here with us today. My friends, as we wrap up our opening keynote session, it is a great pleasure for me to bring a partner and a friend of this industry to our stage. Guillermo Ayala is with British Airways. He's here as part of, as I talked about a little bit last night, Port of Portland's overarching sponsorship of our entire conference. Many of you may not know Guillermo. I want to tell you a little bit about him as he works his way to the stage. He is British Airways' key corporate account manager. He's been with British Airways for roughly 10 years. What I find interesting about Guillermo is he also has his pilot's license. Now, I don't know if that means that the next time you step onto a BA flight, you should turn and look into the cockpit. I don't think it's that pilot's license, but I know he has a pilot's license, and here's what I know about Guillermo. Not only is he a key corporate account manager for British Airways, he's got to be a great human being, because with his pilot's license, he's a member of 2 different volunteer flying organizations. One is a group called Angel Flight West. They're a charity organization that arranges donated flights for people in need of medical care. and he also flies for Pilots and Paws, which is a nonprofit that arranges donated flights for rescue pets that are traveling to their forever homes. My friends, please join me in welcoming just a fine human being to our stage, Guillermo Sayala.
Thank you for that introduction, Todd. Really appreciate it. Thank you for having me. At BA, we're delighted to connect Oregon to the UK and UK to Oregon. We're very proud to serve this, make the service year-round to London and beyond. And I just want to take a moment to thank you so very much for your support in making this route a success. So with that, we have a short video for you guys. Thank you. So we're giving away 2 business class round-trip tickets to London to a lucky winner today. You should all have received a pack of trading cards. If you open them up, whoever has a golden ticket inside wins the tickets. There you go. 250 to London.
All right. Thank you so much, Guillermo. We really appreciate you being here. Sorry it took a second, but that golden ticket was hard to find.
Let's give another round of applause for British Airways. All right, never give Matt and Lisa the microphone. For those of you that don't know us, I am Lisa Edel. I'm the Director of Industry Relations for Travel Oregon, and this is my colleague, Matt Finn. And we are so excited to see you all here and just being able to kind of unveil all the things that Travel Oregon's been working on over these last 365 days. But we have some really key housekeeping things that we really need you guys to pay attention to this morning. You heard Todd talk about in the commission meeting and in his presentation this morning, the theme of our conference this year, Stewarding Oregon's Future. If you walk out, as you grab breakfast this morning, or you walk out of this general session room today, you will see our pledge wall and our commitment to Oregon. It is my hope and is my wish that as each of you sometime over the next day and a half can share your pledge, whether it's a personal pledge, your community pledge, something that you might be working on in the office, that you're pledged to of how you're going to help us steward this ship that we call Oregon forward. And I'm hoping by the time that we leave here on Wednesday that we have over 550 pledges, so we can just see what an amazing group we have here today in Salem, but what it really means to be a collective voice as Oregon's tourism industry. So please make sure you do that. I also wanted to share, and if you're hangry later, we're gonna do an awesome dine around. We've been working with Travel Salem, they're amazing partners. We have 7 amazing restaurants that are essentially closed, most of them closing down for you. If you haven't gotten your restaurant card at registration, we have folks down there, so please do that at the exhibitor break. It's on a first come, first served basis, but we're just excited for you guys to explore Salem. Be on the lookout for the Ask Me signs after the last breakout session. We'll be downstairs. We can kind of help you navigate and point you in the right direction. But again, you have to have your card with your dine around. They'll be collecting those at each individual restaurant. So Matt?
Very good. All right, we wanted to just call out one new addition to the conference this year, where we have sponsorship from SCP Hotels. They have a wellness lounge located immediately outside of this room. That's a place where you can take a moment, do some yoga, some stretching, take a breath, connect with Paige and Amy from the SCP Hotels team, and including today during the breaks with exhibitors. So in just a few minutes, and at 3:30 today, they actually have instructor-led yoga. So that's a local Salem-based yoga instructor who's available. Also a new addition this year is our accessibility vendors. They're going to be located out the doors to my right. We have 5 companies located in there, so please stop by and say hello. They're open and available throughout the day. And finally, we're very grateful for the support of the Port of Portland and Walt Marchbanks for activating the sensory room, again located over here to my right. That's a place you can just take a moment for yourself, disconnect from the conference. So thank you, Walt. We really appreciate your support. We will bring up our breakout sessions at 11 o'clock. We have the names and locations of our breakout sessions there. Take a look, see what you're planning to attend. And then we are on break until those breakout sessions. So thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.